Hello everyone and welcome back to the Chassis Variant series once again with myself, Critical Rocket, and we're still on the Highlanders. We're on the 733. Now the 733 is the original downgrade of the Highlander of the 732. Despite the fact the number goes up one, it's actually a downgrade. So this model was a first attempt to keep the mech within fighting condition on the front lines of the inner sphere, and to do this the Gauss rifle had to be dropped. And to do that, they added an AC-10 in its place. I love the AC-10. One of my favourite weapons in MechWarrior Online. I can see why it didn't become more common, but I love the rate of fire, the amount of damage, and the range. It all works for me. Perfectly matched with medium lasers. Always works well. So that's what this model ended up doing. It also increased the armour by another 2 ton, still keeping the original profile speed-wise of the 732. And it allowed it to move at a brisk 54 kph for an assault. That's pretty good. It's not that far behind a heavy. So yeah, the Highlander 733 is a pretty decent model. I believe it comes with 4 missile hardpoints, 2 energy and 2 ballistic, so it's supposed to be a bit more on the missile side of things if you're customizing it, of course. And you have to bear in mind it suffers from the problems that all the other Highlanders do, which is that one side is all your missiles, the other side is your energy and ballistics, and most pilots are going to blow your right side off before your left, so always protect your right hand side. It's never a mech I would recommend for XL engines, probably a light fusion engine though, if you can find the space for it, and get your weapon selection in there. Obviously the new tech does kind of invigorate the Highlander series in many interesting and decent ways. There's no other particular changes to this model, same engine rating, obviously they all come with AMS these days, you know, so there's no major changes there. Interesting little historical tidbits that came with this. The Highlander was one of the mechs that was kept in very large numbers by Comstar on the sly, of course, that the Inner Sphere had no knowledge of, the Great Houses, by that I mean. And as such, they were able to gift the Draconis Combine a number of these during the War of 3039. The Draconis Combine were gifted a number of mechs that were no longer available in large numbers. Strangely enough, the Comstar had. And no one ever seemed to go, these Comstar guys, should we maybe look into that? Actually, no, to be fair, they did look into it a lot more, but the problem is when you've got a clandestine, almost semi-religious group who control all of the internet, basically, in Battletech, you can't really do much about it unless you're all unified at the same time and you all decide to attack them at the same time, and that probably wouldn't have worked out very well for you. Anyway, that aside, the 733 is definitely a model I would recommend. I do like it. It's a cool mech. It's got some nice basic setup like all the other Highlanders. The SRM 6 in the left arm, the LRM 20 with the 2 medium lasers and the AC-10. So it's pretty straightforward. It's like the C variant but slightly better range and obviously more ammunition per ton. So if you like your 10s over your 20s, it's better for that reason. As far as customization goes, I guess the Highlander kind of suffers, doesn't it, really, if we have to be honest about it. It's not a variant of the mech that has a particularly easy time of things that comes with customization. It doesn't mix up its hardpoints that often, and thus a lot of them can end up feeling very samey, and that's probably one of the reasons that the Highlander isn't seen as often. It's not a bad mech though, it's not a bad assault by any stretch. You can't really turn your nose up at 90 tons, but yeah, compared to others, it just doesn't seem to get used as often. To be fair, there are a lot of assault mechs in MechWarrior Online, and obviously a majority of the more popular assault mechs are in the clan side of things, rather than the Inner Sphere side. Unless there are, you know, very quirky little builds that can be made, or just things that are ridiculously powerful. Things like 4 light Gauss annihilators or something stupid like that. But this was a bit of a brawly fight as well on HBG. For the longest time I was sort of playing catch up with the rest of the team because there was a big fight on the ground, and then that fight shifted around one side and then it kept going on the ground, and I was sort of always on the back end of that, and I didn't really get much to do for a long time. Started to improve when we got to this part of the match, but yeah, I was playing catch up for a lot of this one, and the rest of the assault mechs in my lines did a much better job, I have to admit. This isn't one of my better rounds, I have to say. Definitely one of the rounds I would try and improve on if I were to do it again. But I was also coming off a weekend where Shadowplay just decided to screw me over, so I was desperate to get any kind of footage I could, and I managed to get Shadowplay working again because I had to roll the driver back to a previous version because the new one breaks Shadowplay now. Thanks, NVIDIA. So yeah, the 733 is a decent model though. I would pick it over the P, and it's not that much different from the C, to be honest. Obviously you can easily convert the C down to a 3 variant. There's not really much change there. Because of the number of ballistics in that and the hardpoints, it probably works with rotary. Let's face it, rotary assault on a Highlander would probably be pretty effective. And energy-wise, ER mediums instead of standard mediums. And yeah, your missiles you could probably do better with like MRMs. I get the feeling that the Highlander would work better if it was more of a kind of direct fire brawling mech compared to it being a kind of, because the standard one usually, like the Gauss equipped one, usually goes for a mix of extreme range with its Gauss and LRM 20 with some minor backup with the 2 mediums and the SRM 6. Whereas I think in MechWarrior Online you could easily convert this into something that could do a lot of brutal close range to medium range damage very quickly, and still have that maneuverability of the jump jets and other bits and pieces like that. So, I mean, an example here is a Cyclops that's equipped with a fair number of missiles, MRMs and stuff, and doing a pretty decent job of it. So, yeah, there is that. And yeah, to be honest, I'm running out of things to say about the 733. Well, that I don't want a lot of dead air near the end. I don't want it. I don't want the dead ends. No. Yeah, this bastard's gonna get me in a minute. I was turning away from him, hoping that the other guy would kill him, and then maybe get distracted and go like, no, get him, and then it was like, I just get fucking dropped. But yeah, always happens, doesn't it? You rely on your teammates and they stab you in the back. They leave you there hanging. So I died, and then it was just the slow, inevitable betrayal of MechWarrior Online's matchmaking system. They brought in the new matchmaker for solo drops as well, where it will now have a much higher chance of dropping you with people your tier or one above or below. Slightly increased wait times for this, but apparently much more balanced matches. I can't say I've noticed much difference personally for me. But still, that's unfair. I think there has been an improvement. If they could somehow do that for group drops, but that would be a much more complex change on PGI's part, and I wouldn't begrudge them trying to fix that one. This guy's laggy, isn't he? Look at this guy. He's like jerking all over the place. Happens again in a second. His connection's a bit... Oh, there we go. His connection's a bit ropey. He's the guy who's got lag shield, isn't he? Let's face it, he's the one who you shoot at, and you know you hit him, and then he's zipping around, and you're just like, where the fuck did I shot that guy? Like, I just hit him with like a really powerful alpha. Why is he showing virtually no damage? And on the wrong part of the mech I shot? I didn't shoot him. This is lag shield. Classic Raven lag shield. Who remembers Ravens? Who remembers ECM Ravens? Who remembers ECM Spiders? Back before fucking host state rewind. Oh man, those were the miserable days, weren't they? They were the truly dark days of MechWarrior. Oh, lag shielded Ravens, lag shielded Spiders, owning assault mechs. Like nobody's business. Oh man, yeah, glad those days are gone. They were a bit horrible and grindy. I think this one's pretty much done. I think the capsule loss. There we go. Yeah, it's finished. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.